Hello, welcome back to the YouTube channel of Bethel Evangelical Free Church Hanley. I'm Pastor Gervais Charnley. This is another historic church in Leicestershire. This is the Church of St Remigius in the small town of Long Clawson, best known for its creamery and its production of cheese, especially Stilton cheese. I know that Morrison's and Aldi get Stilton from Long Clawson. This is, of course, in the Vale of Belvoir. It's a very rich agricultural area, and most notable as the fact that this is famous for cheese suggests as a dairy farming area. This is a small town. It's one of the very small ones, the one that people think is a village, it's a town, but no, it's a town. The Church of St Remigius indicates the past prosperity of this town because although it's not very big, it is very grand. It's cruciform. You can see behind me there's the tower arch, the tower, and then behind there's the chancel, and then you can see the transepts either side. The church, the present church, has its origins around about 1220 and was built as a cruciform structure. It has been much enlarged. Its character today is largely of the 14th and 15th centuries. The Victorians in the 1890s rebuilt the chancel and the transepts, but the tower and the nave and the aisles are all medieval. As you can probably tell by the nice light character here, there's not a lot of stained glass and most of it's modern. We'll see that as we go around. So it's dedicated to St Remigius, who is a 6th century bishop of Rheims. Well, actually he's a bishop of Rheims from the 5th century into the 6th century, and he's famous for baptizing King Clovis, and this is all to do, of course, with the Christianization of Gaul and, of course, what's now France. So we'll have a look around here and see what we can see. We start as usual at the west end, and again you can see here the cruciform nature. Here, there's the north transept with the organ in it. There's the crossing, and there is the south transept, which is the Lady Chapel. The font is medieval, 14th, 15th century. Would have originally been painted, so those shields would have had coats of arms on them. The blank side would have been up against a column, probably that one there by the south door. There is a south door, and there is a north door. The north door now leads to the loos. And what that means is there's a passageway between the two, which is, of course, partway down the church. So what they've done, they've kept the Victorian pews in front of them, and behind we've got these chairs and tables for refreshments and events. The west window now, this shows, because we've got the baptism of Christ in the centre, and then we've got the baptism of Clovis by St Remigius. You can see Clovis is up to his tummy in the water because they did baptize by immersion. Aha, the bells. And there we have the bells. You will notice, looking at the tower, that the bells, when they are rung from under the tower, from the floor. There's no ringing chamber. This means the bells are lower down in the tower than they would be otherwise, and so the forces exerted by the bells being rung are lower down. And then it's not so extreme, because a cruciform tower, you're supported on the four corners, and that's it. You'll see there the Victorian pulpit with its oil lamp. On the other side there's the war memorial. royal arms of King George III, who of course in Britain is remembered very differently from the way he's remembered in the United States. And up the aisle here we have the one medieval effigy surviving. You can see pretty well worn, but that's apparently Ralph de Bozon. He is 13th, 14th century. You can see just traces of chainmail carved on his legs. Originally, of course, it would have been, there's quite a lot that's been worn away, isn't there? But he's got crossed legs, which older people thought, oh, this means he's a crusader, but more recent researchers said, no, actually, it's just an artistic choice. It's harder to carve, and it makes him look a bit more dynamic. There's the organ tucked away there. It's a common place to put it, actually, in a transept, if you've got one. We are down the aisle. And here we have the memorial, reopened, I think, July 1893, after a complete restoration of the main fabric. So, and it was T. Russell who was the vicar at the time. And there you can see the oil lamp for the vicar. And of course there's all electrics now, but we've still got the oil lamps either side. And under the crossing we've got the Sunday School banner on the north side and the Mothers' Union on the right. They would have been parades, you see, through the centre of the town, and these would have been borne as part of it. The Sunday School, we have the boy Christ as the image, and of course the Mothers' Union, we've got the lilies of the Virgin Mary as the Mother of Christ. The chancel is pretty much rebuilt. Some of the old fabric is maintained, but it's pretty much rebuilt in 1893. We've got a fairly nice pavement there, nice tiles. You can see these iron supports. Turn around and look west. You can just see how big the building is, but also how impressive it is, having this space in the middle that's occupied largely by choir stalls, but also used for ringing. We must remember, of course, that when it was built, they weren't pews. When it was built, seating would have been either you bring your own stool or there are some benches. The Lady Chapel around here, and we've got a painting of the Virgin and Child there, little altar down there. And then we've got the Adam and Eve window, and there they are in the middle, just as sort of stick figures, because we don't want to be too anatomically correct, because this is not the this is not the 18th century. And there's the columns. You can see them leaning slightly outwards here, but it's perfectly safe. They've been doing it for a long time. So that is, let's have a little look around here. That is the inside here at St. Remigius, Long Clawson. The church, well, the village is originally Claxon, but it then becomes Clawson over time, because basically it's how the locals say it, and then spelling is conformed to pronunciation. So let's have a look at the outside now. And so we are now outside at Long Clawson. You can see here the cruciform church with its chancel. Remember, this is Victorian rebuild, the tower and Victorian rebuild transept, and the nave with the porch here. The upper windows probably originally have had tracery in them, but it's eroded and it's been replaced with just these leaded panes. So we'll have a look around the outside and again see what we can see here. We are located in the Vale of Beaver, as I said. Now, Beaver spelt Belvoir, as originally, of course, it's the French Belvoir, beautiful view. English people being English people, they just go Beaver. And they probably think it's to do with the animal, which, because beavers were native to the UK, they're trying to reintroduce them right now. So that's why it's called the Vale of Beaver, because English people couldn't pronounce Belvoir.